Hi, I'm Alison Bales with Real Talk, and I'm joined today by Kiefer Sutherland, who's starring in a new horror film called Mirrors, which I saw. And, you know, I don't like horror films, I'm going to be really honest with you, but I think this one, it's effective because I literally sat like this through the whole thing. I was absolutely terrified. I didn't enjoy that experience. Why do people like to be terrified so much?
I'm not sure. I mean, I also have a hard time watching horror films. I remember I took my daughter, I think she was about 10 or 11, to Finding Nemo, which is obviously not a horror film. It's a G-rated cartoon. And I'm sitting there with her, and there was one moment where the shark sticks his head in the boat coming after Nemo, and the music cue was right, and my popcorn was in the air, and I dropped my soda, and my daughter just looked at me and went, "Oh, Dad." And so it's never been something that I've gone way out of my way to watch, but when I do watch a great horror film, and by this I mean things like The Exorcist, or a film my father made called Don't Look Now, back in the 70s, the way they can pull you in, there is something kind of really special and majestic about that. The excitement for me to make one, I have a twin sister. I used to love to play this game with her where we would hide behind the walls and kind of try and scare either our parents or scare each other. So the act of actually trying to scare someone is really wonderful. Being scared is not, you know, you and I agree, is not for us maybe. But there certainly are people that love the visceral reaction to a film. Most of the films that I've done, I remember kind of talking to the filmmaker or whoever about why I would make that, is I wanted to move an audience, and on an emotional level. There's something about a horror film that you can actually literally say you can physically move an audience out of their seat. And 24, in all fairness, was one of the first experiences of that for me, where you would try and make a situation so tense and so uncomfortable that people would physically move. And so this film for me was just an extension really of that.
Well, you said the audio cues are often, I think, what really make you jump. So I tend to watch with my fingers in my ears. But this one, I was sort of looking at the head of the person in front of me, and I was just sort of trying to, I mean, I get so scared, and I know people like that, and I find it strange.
Well, again, another film, Parenthood, which was a film that I loved, and at the very end of the movie, the grandmother finally comes forward and tries to explain the differences in people, and she uses a roller coaster as her metaphor, and she says some people like the roller coaster and they like being scared, going down, and they love the fear of going up and waiting for the drop, and some people don't. But for the people that do, we made this film for them. And Alex Ajar is a phenomenal director who did The Hills Have Eyes, and that was...
And Haute Tension, that gory, graphic, scary French film.
And he's, you know, and I think he's a brilliant filmmaker, and I think he's a brilliant filmmaker in any genre. But in this one, we had a deal. My responsibility was to make you care about this family and the characters. And I said, I will do everything I can to accomplish that, but you have to scare them. And he looked at me and went, "No problem." and that's how we made the film.
It's scary. It's very effective.
Well, good. Then we did our job.
Much of the movie, you are alone, however. It's set in a big, creepy, burnt-out old department store that's filled with these mirrors. And you're acting alone, kind of interacting with the mirrors sometimes, or just walking around. How... Is that a lot harder as an actor, rather than bouncing off other people and getting energy from other people?
I think maybe when I was younger it was. I think just over time, again, I hate to reference back to 24. I've just been doing it for so long, well, for 7 years now, and it has informed so much of what I think about acting now. I spend a lot of time on 24 alone, too. And so that didn't feel unusual. What was really difficult for me is I have one mirror in my house, and that's in the bathroom just to make sure that my shirt's buttoned up right and I can leave. But I've never been a huge fan of mirrors. And it's not that they creeped me out, I just wasn't always comfortable with my own reflection or whatever. So all of a sudden to put myself in a position where I had to actually act in front of a mirror, where I could see what I was doing, that became one of the most difficult things I think I've had to do in my career, and that was really tricky.
When you were told the premise of the film, or when you tell people, well, I'm a man, he's kind of being terrorized by these mirrors that may be possessed, it sounds a little silly, possessed mirrors.
Well, If you take a look at the mythology of mirrors, and it goes back, mirrors weren't. We obviously got our reflections from a lot of different sources. A narcissist from a pond. You watch people walk down the street here in New York, and again, there's two kinds of people. There's people that kind of look at themselves and see their reflection and look away, and there's other people who are like, oh, I look great. and it's very funny. If you try and walk around this city and not see yourself, it's almost impossible. But since mirrors were kind of a part of our society almost 1,000 years ago, and they came from Greece, there has been always this mythology that the spirit can be trapped in this plane of existence between heaven and hell, almost like a purgatory. And so the angle that we took for the film was that all of the evil in the universe is trapped in this plane, and it's now using my character as a conduit to get out. Yeah, it sounds absolutely ridiculous when you're trying to explain it, as I hear myself talk, but when you actually go watch the movie, Alex did a beautiful job explaining it over a 2-hour period. And
you have young kids and a wife, and the ante is definitely upped because
yes.
You do care about you. I did care about you,
well,
and I was very worried for your kids.
Thank you. Well, and that's the thing. This film is actually anchored. Alex and I both. He wanted to be able to take the family out and still have it be a real film about mirrors and about that mythology. And I wanted to be able to take the mirrors out of the film and have you still care about this family. And that's what we worked towards. And both of us kind of shared our responsibilities together for those individual aspects. And I loved the family in this film. And this was a guy who was down on his luck, who was a police officer who's been retired against his will, suspended for a questionable shooting. And he's really now trying to get his life back. He's realized that the one thing that did matter was not his job, not all these other things, but his wife and his children. And in the middle of this, he ends up taking the worst job possible. But I love the storyline of that, and I understand that. I've been through that, and so there was a real personal investment for me in that.
24. It's almost impossible to talk to you now without 24. To many people, you are Jack Bauer. Mm-hmm. Is that a yoke around your neck?
No, it's been a blessing. I mean, I wouldn't have done it for 7 years otherwise. My career has gone up and down and up and down, and to be able to do something that people are enjoying as much as they have 24 has been a blessing. For the countless films that I have made that 5 people have seen, this was thrilling for me. And I love the character, and I love the show. And I think Jack Bauer is an awesome cat. In many ways, I wish I was a lot more like him. But the fact that people have enjoyed that as much as they have has been a real thrill for me.
Everyone wants to be Jack Bauer.
Yeah, well, good.
Right?
I'm right in line.
Yeah.
I'm right in line.
Have you